Geeta, Ryan, red pill, blue pill. Pick which map.
You can't win it if you're not in it, baby.
Oh yeah.
I totally had this
all the
thought
time.
yesterday to myself. I'm like, is this Jim Benning's team in the second round?
Oh, Geeta, don't do that.
I did.
Sort
I
of.
opened that can. I
Sort
opened that.
We get a lot of shots. Everybody come to the net. We just have to get more and more pucks to the net.
Banging the drum to get more pucks on net.
I know Ryan. He's a good guy.
We're getting pucks on net.
I'm about to listen to Pucks on Net.
What were you saying about putting pucks on net?
This is JT Miller, and you're listening to Pucks on Net.
Pucks on net and driving and making it a hard night on them.
Live on tape from a myriad of locations. This is Pucks on Net, a Vancouver hockey podcast riddled with rampant speculation without sources. Satellite hot stove edition of the podcast because I woke up this morning like a big sick baby and said, don't come near me. But rest assured, I've tested negative for the novel coronavirus and its many, many alterations it has taken over the years. My name is Ryan Schapp. I'm going to be your host for the evening, coming to you from the apartment above the grounds, the old haunted Burger King. Sitting in the middle of our little screen here is the Prince of Pomegranate, Mr. Arash Mamarzadeh, and no longer jet lagged, our dear beloved Geeta. Geeta, how are you doing today?
I haven't been here in forever, months, literal months.
Since you were here last, you have purchased a new home.
I did. What do you think? This is my Whistler Chalet.
We would like, at some point in the evening, we would like you to perform some sort of number on the piano.
Ooh, a new Canucks hype song on my grand piano.
We're not allowed. You're not allowed to do that anymore.
Oh God.
As you can see in the back, or that back, there's a library.
Yeah. Arash, how are you doing today?
He's also sitting pretty.
Oh yeah, hey guys. No, just as you can see, I've broken the theory of time travel. Geeta, Ryan, I've went back to 2015, 2016 when one Francesco Aquilini picked between now to my left, Jim Benning, and to my right, Trevor Linden. The precipice of this team, Ryan. I'm trying to get us to figure out how we can beat the Edmonton Oilers, and I decided it's coming back and making sure that. We draft William Nylander or Nick Ehlers instead of redacted from Magnuson Ford back in Abbotsford. I'm good. I'm fine. It's great. We did it's what about that game 7, guys? Wow.
Which game 7?
Yeah.
The Leafs Bruins.
Oh my God. Oh heavens. Yes.
Why are we talking about Dallas and Vegas? Oh yeah, well, man, here's a 45-minute episode about Radek Faksa. What a good get. Of course I'm talking Leafs Bruins. Like, what are we doing?
2 quick links for you off the hop here. Patreon.com/pucksonnet if you want to support the show monetarily, and YouTube.com/pucksonnet if you want to watch Arash and Geeta's virtual backgrounds here as we test drive our new streaming and recording software to the fullest, because I am not at maximum capacity today due to being a big baby. Also,
baby.
I am a big little baby. I wanted to point out that if you ever watch a podcaster or a streamer that has not put any effort into their appearance, they are wearing a hoodie and a hat. And that generally conceals all of the shame associated with their appearance. So,
I mean, did you see your girlfriend in Arizona jumping into pools, biking down one straightaway, getting drunk out of her mind, and here you are, Ryan, drinking a Caribou, whatever that is. And
Are you taking notes? Because Ryan's stag now has to one up anything Amanda's been to.
Yeah, Ryan, are you gonna get one of those bikes?
I have figured out the hashtag and name for my stag.
Oh, that's cute. It's nice.
It's a stag. SCHTAAG.
Uh-huh.
A stag.
Okay. Well, hey guys, thanks for tuning in this week. That was great.
I don't know if I want to go to a stag.
I don't know if I want to Google stag.
I
feel like the Germans
what's
are
wrong with us when we tell them we're at a stag.
Oh, Ryan. Sweet Stagette Ryan. Look at you go.
Let's go with conservatism.
Yeah, let's go with conservatism, please.
I say
Okay.
we start with the playoff series that are upon us. The Vancouver Canucks, for the second time in this podcast existence, and arguably the only time, they've reached the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. They're going to take on the Edmonton Oilers. That series will begin on Wednesday night. They won't play on Saturday, so my exciting plans to go see wrestling will not be thwarted. But Arash,
Is that why they're not playing on Saturday? Because there's wrestling?
there's big time wrestling at the Rogers Arena, and on Sunday
Which Rogers Arena?
at Rogers Place there is Stars on Ice. So all of the A-list events are thwarting the Canucks and Oilers having a normal playoff schedule.
Oh, that's cute. That's nice. What do you want to talk about? Ryan, what would you possibly want to talk about when it comes to Vancouver Edmonton that we haven't already talked about?
I'm quite flabbergasted by what.
Do you want to? Do you want to talk about how Ryan Whitney's a little piss baby? Do you want to talk about how
Do it.
Edmonton
Go on a
Oilers
rant.
fans? Yeah. Do you want to talk about how the Oilers fans are getting Mr. Booth before Mr. Booth even opens up Photoshop? Do you want to talk about the fact that this same Edmonton Oilers fan base and probably the province of Alberta is going to be begging us for energy to keep their radio stations open in the summer because they don't have any goddamn energy, and they're going to be paying us the big bucks just to keep the lights on? What do we need to talk about when it comes to Edmonton, Vancouver? Let's just play the games, guys. Guess what? No, I'm a little hopped up on this. Guess what? Edmonton's
That's
probably
right.
gonna win. Edmonton's
It
probably
doesn't
gonna
matter
win.
what happens on Twitter.
It doesn't matter what happens on Twitter. They have two of the best players in the world, and I hope to God that the Vancouver Canucks and their defense core, with their big, burly, tall, lanky men of Tyler Myers, Carson Soucy, Nikita Zadorov, hell, they're going to stretch Quinn Hughes on a torture rack to get him a couple extra inches there just so he can have the reach. And I hope that they can figure out a defensive system to stop them. I hope they can stay out of the penalty box, all that stuff. That being said, there is a formula with the Edmonton Oilers, guys. There's a formula with the Edmonton Oilers, and it goes like this. They come out hot out the gates, maybe game one or something. They get a bunch of power plays, and they look like there is no way you can stop them. They're buzzed out. They're going to win. They're going to win 8-5. Absolutely no way that you can stop them. And then what ends up happening is as the series goes away or goes through, and referees put their whistles away, then they got to start playing 5-on-5. Then they have to keep giving minutes to Darnell Nurse and Evander Kane and a bunch of other Three Stooge players that they have on their roster for a billion other years. And then guess what happens? This is every story with the Edmonton Oilers, guys, is that they get to a position where it's Connor and Leon, and they have to carry all these sad sacks 5-on-5 and through special teams. And then they score a power play goal, but they give up 2 shitty goals 5-on-5. And then Connor and Leon are like, God damn it, how long do we have left on our contracts? Can we just please? Connor's like, if I'm on Boston, I have 4 cups already.
Yeah.
If I'm on Boston, I have 4 cups already. This is not a joke. So this being said, when it comes to this faux outrage thing that's happening between two fan bases, guys, as Canucks fans, you have to understand something. We're losers. And we understand that we're losers, and we love that we're losers. Guys, we get it. We suck. No one knows how much we suck more than us. So when Edmonton Oilers fans are coming in with, I don't know, they're unvaxxed kids and shit, and they're coming in and being like, what we're going to do? I'm driving my F Ford 150 just like Connor McDavid's going to go down the middle. That'd be great, man. No problem. We know we're going to fucking lose. We know we suck. It's fine. And if we win, what a fantastic surprise that's going to be.
Now, Arash,
fun
amazing.
fact, right? The Canucks were never supposed to be here, supposed to be anywhere close to here. And the Oilers, they should already be in the third round.
Yeah, they should already be in the third round. But Geeta,
So the fact that they're crossing paths, I know people keep saying that the regular season isn't the playoffs, but I mean, the Oilers of today were playing this way in March, and Vancouver still managed to beat them then.
Yeah.
Well, that's the wild thing about all this is that, Like I've not seen a team become such an underdog so hard, so fast, and get the there was that screenshot from about 2019 that I shared incorrectly where every Sportsnet writer basically picked the Leafs to beat the Bruins except for two, and then they did it. This is the exact same treatment for the Canucks, where every single contributor to Sportsnet, with the exception of somebody from ESPN and another person, basically said the Oilers are gonna dog walk them. And yeah, obviously the regular season's the regular season, and those games were won when things weren't going too well. And Connor McDavid was not in the lineup for that last one, but Casey DeSmith was in net, and it was a must-win game. Like, there's a lot of factors. They lost twice to Casey DeSmith. They lost.
Yeah, but Ryan, no, that was a different Edmonton Oilers team, Ryan. No, Ryan, no, you can't. No, I'm sorry, but you can't do that. No. Yeah, you beat me 4 times. Well, you can't go back in history.
The sun was in my eyes.
That's unfair. The sun was in my eyes. No, I had rocks in my shoes. Now I have new shoes now, and I have all it's the same. It's you guys. What happened? You went and got Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a different team. It's totally different team.
Brand new.
You know who else? You know who else was a totally different team? The fucking Nashville Predators were a brand new team. They were the hottest team in the NHL coming into the playoffs. Guess what? You still have to play the goddamn games. You have to play the games. And this is the one thing that drives me. Geeta, I know you're here for a limited time. I'm sorry I'm ranting. But this is the part that drives me to a goddamn wall. And I tweeted about it, where sometimes I wish that Bill James, when he wrote his analytical book about baseball, in the pork and beans factory, being a security guard, sometimes I wish I could just go back and be like, hey, could you just do me a favor? Just so I can watch sports without people trying to sell me the tonic of hockey or of baseball, of basketball, trying to sell me the tonic of, we already know what's going to happen. And mathematically, they've lost. Mathematically, they shouldn't even play the games. Okay, but because I'm nice, I'm going to allow the NHL to play their game. It's like, stop, dude. Whenever anyone asks me about what's happening with Vancouver and Edmonton, it's strictly just let them play the games, and we'll see what happens.
Keita, is there a recency bias in all these predictions and kind of this underdog? Like, I think we're all sensible hockey fans and learned folks, we're also Canucks fans, and you could admit that the Canucks are considered an underdog. But do you think there's some sort of recency bias that the national media is taking? Like, they looked at the way the Oilers took care of the Kings, and then they looked at what happened between the Canucks and the Predators and are kind of basing it off that and not maybe of a larger sample size of the regular season?
That's a good question, and I don't even know if that's how I saw it. I think what's going to come into play is just how you match up individually against certain teams. Like, I think if Vancouver had played LA in that first round, they probably would be out by now because they couldn't get over that hump.
Yeah.
Whereas that's why I'm not put off by this matchup. I'm less skeptical of it than everybody else is. So I'm like, you never know. Whereas I'm sure when they meet, if Vancouver were to meet Colorado in the third round, they'll get steamrolled.
My God. Dude, people are afraid of Edmonton. I'm like, guys, like, this is like a video game, and where the video game's like, hey, you beat Bowser. You think the game's over. Now you have to, actually, it's not. There's Bowser, and then there's like 5 of the dudes from the Street Fighter franchise there with all their magical kicking powers. Like, what are you going to do?
There's a team like
Oh, no, you go.
There's a team like the Oilers waiting for you in the West Final, except they have sensible defense and a goalie, but all the best in round 2.
All the best.
I was gonna say I'm not super keen or inclined to listen to the Eastern media because we know they're not watching. They've never been right about Vancouver.
Never been right about Vancouver, and I don't think I've ever been more aghast at them than when they were talking about what a great series Vancouver-Nashville was. And I don't know about the both of you, but
did you guys watch it?
What? Were you watching something from 2010? Were you watching Ryan Kessler go beast mode?
No, I love how, just a bunch of pundits beyond one guy from sports. I believe it was the Seattle Kraken beat writer who selected the Canucks, which was hilarious because it's like, oh, somebody from the West Coast that actually like watches the Canucks. Yeah, and they were completely wrong about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and everyone's like, oh, well, I mean, listen, Matt
was it on 32 Thoughts where like Elliot to Jeff was like, have you seen what's being said about this series on Twitter? And Jeff's like, it's fantastic. And it's like, it's not fantastic.
Yeah. Elliot's like, I don't like some of the things that they're saying on Twitter. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So at the end of it, it's like, I don't know. And this is I'm trying to keep a very even keel because of how all my interactions with Edmonton Oilers fans throughout my life. Like I got into a fight with a dude at a Boston Pizza 3 years ago. He was getting drunk with his mom and chirping people like that are sitting there eating their cactus cuts. And I was like,
is there an Andrew Walker joke in here?
Oh my God. We get to talk about Andrew Walker and his palates and his haircut. He is the AliExpress version of Stephen A. Smith. That's what Andrew tried to do.
We have our Arash. You have not given me your picks for round 2 yet, but you have given me. I have seen your pick in a group chat for the Canucks Oilers series. Yeah. Do I have reason to believe that you are taking the Oilers in 6?
Yeah, I'm taking. I'm totally neutral. I don't. The one thing about being on this show, guys, and more, as we chat and stuff, I'm also protecting my emotions. I think that's the biggest thing I'm doing. Is like, yeah, I already know. Like, listen, if this is a lot of stuff kind of falls on Artur Shilov's still being the goalie that he was in Nashville. This is a totally different beast. This is a totally different beast for this decor. I feel as the series goes on, as Tocchet can adjust and figure out, can Lindholm be, someone that can slow McDavid down in the neutral zone before he gets a lot of steam and goes down and makes a highlight reel pass or a goal to Draisaitl or to Hyman or whomever. Zach Hyman's probably going to have a tougher job in front of the net as opposed to his time with the Kings, where David Rittich and Cam Talbot were not making saves. And yeah, that's my viewpoint, is that I just feel that longer the series goes, the Canucks have a chance. But at the same time, understanding that if they keep playing in the same form that they have, if Elias Pettersson doesn't wake up, if there's, I don't argue that the Nashville series was actually a great version of preparation for them in terms of them showing that they can play every kind of game and then kind of be able to lock things down. But yeah, I'm just I think Ed Connor and Leon have a lot of bulletin board stuff from the regular season. They've made it vocal that they're really motivated, and there is nothing scarier in the world than two of the world's best hockey players saying that they're really extra motivated. So we'll see, and maybe the scaries aren't as scary as we thought, and maybe the huge wingspans of Myers, Soucy, Zadorov, whomever are, they're going to actually make a lot less ice for them to kind of dipsy doodle magic and the people locked down.
We, Geeta and I both of us do not share the same scaries. We have both picked the Canucks in 6 in this series. Geeta, what made you come to that prediction?
Going with my gut.
I feel I also picked the Canucks in 6. I feel like I'm voting with another internal organ. I'm betting with my heart. But I also feel that I think we're gonna see a completely different Canucks in round 2 than we did in round 1. I'm not saying that it's a surefire win, and
right.
if I was putting money on it, the smart money is on the Oilers. But I'm excited to see what this team can do in a high stakes, skill on skill series. And like Arash pointed out, you stay out of the penalty box, you have a solid opportunity. But I'm I'm excited to see something that wasn't that mud bowl for 6 games in Smashville.
You know what I have seen before?
What's that?
The Oilers not meet expectations. I'm more used to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the one big thing that Oilers fans keep trying to force feed down our throats is that this isn't your Edmonton Oilers from 45 minutes ago. They can play defense. They can do this. I'm like, if there is one team, listen, if there is one team in the playoffs right now that I know if you lean on them on a defense core that, honest to God, Evan Bouchard, huge shot from the point. Great, offensive defenseman, has his massive defensive warts. Darnell Nurse might be on one of the most horrific contracts in the NHL. $9 million for a dude. Good Lord. Like Doughty's chirp being like, how did you end up getting $9 million? Like, how did you, is this like a Bernie Madoff situation? Like, did you con a bunch of people? How did this
It's
work?
also not it's a bad contract, but it also is not reflected on the ice. It is a bad contract for a bad player.
It's a bit, it's a bad contract for a bad player. And then, the one defenseman on that roster that I think is like really lights out is Matthias Ekholm. That's a great pickup from Ken Holland's perspective. And then Stuart Skinner is not Grant Fuhr. And then who's the backup for Stuart Skinner? It's Calvin Pickard. No offense to Calvin Pickard, but like if you're bashing the Canucks, like, when I look at Stuart Skinner and I look at Casey Smith, I'm like, oh, like 2 career 909 guys. Okay. And guys, the X factor is, Demko, like the start game is Wednesday. So the more time that Thatcher has, Mikhail Sergachev came back from a broken leg and they're like, oh, he's not going to come back till round 2. He came back in like game 5.
They've got the advances in medical tape are astounding.
It's amazing the
you have
things
nothing
you
to
can
worry
glue back
about.
together. It's really, truly amazing.
Let's go through our picks here because I incorrectly and then properly and correctly tallied up everybody's picks for the first round. Out of the 3 of us, Geeta is in first place with 17 points, correctly predicting 7 of 8 series and predicting the amount of games for the Canucks, the Hurricanes, and the Bruins. Arash, you're in second place with 16 points. You voted. You would have gone 8 for 8 if you went with used your brain instead of your heart with the Winnipeg Jets.
That's the last time I'm ever taking Reed's advice on anything. I swear. I love him. The thing is, when Reed looks at you in the eyes with that smile, because I don't think any of you guys know, but when he does, because me and Reed have a special relationship. I think the kid really brought us together. Is that when he looks me in the eye with that smile, and it's, and I'm like, Winnipeg in 6. I can't say anything but that.
Are you sure it wasn't the customer from Thursday night?
Oh, that customer on Thursday night spilling everything on my floor, and I couldn't be happier in my life. I love that. I fell in love.
Demanding muffins.
Well, no, you can't call that guy a customer who came in and used the pomegranate bathroom. He didn't buy anything. But he was offering to buy a muffin at a pizza joint.
So a little story for people listening. So Geeta, Ryan, and I, and baby Roro, we had a little bit of a dinner date. And then Ryan and I are sitting down, and I came back from the kitchen, and Ryan's like, hey, just to let you know, some guy went in the bathroom. Oh, okay. Because, you don't go into a bathroom at a restaurant without asking. We're not a
I said this because he took a real long look at the very large sign of the doorway that said bathroom is for customers only.
Yeah. So anyway, he went in, and he took a really long time. So me and Ryan are like, oh, God, what's happening? Basically, I sat down. And I've dealt with enough of these guys that my favorite thing is just making them sweat. Like, I just love seeing how people deal with that. It's just fun and entertaining to me because I'm like, I don't really care too much. Like, you gotta go. But he came out and he's like, and he's like this young kid who I feel should have been in the game night music video.
It's like he weighed about 80 pounds.
He weighed about 80 pounds. He was malnourished. Probably could have used a pizza. He was just like, oh, you guys have muffins? I'm like, no, we're a pizza place. He's like, oh, and I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. You can go. Like, you're crumbling under the pressure. And he mentions like, yeah, I'm just from Winnipeg. I don't know. And I'm like, oh,
I've never seen mountains before.
You've never seen mountains before.
back to the stats here. I'm in last place with 14 points, although I did guess two series correct, but I went with the dumb side of my brain, picking the Kings and the Islanders. So we're going to give our picks in round 2. Arash has picked the Oilers in 6. Geeta and I have picked the Canucks in 6. Let's head over to the Dallas versus Colorado series. Geeta, you have the Avalanche in 6. Anything particular stood out that swayed you in that direction?
I don't know. I just feel like they've now turned it on. And that's funny because it's actually the one series that I didn't watch closely at all. The Winnipeg, Colorado series, I feel like was the lost series. Just got buried.
It was just done. Like Connor Hellebuyck didn't show up, and it was like if you could have told me that he has a goals against average plus north of 5, like my God.
But I mean, I'm speaking like television wise. Scheduling's been shitty, and I feel like they buried that series as opposed to like actually spreading out the Canadian teams. But what do I know?
Yeah, they played a Sunday. I was having lunch with my dad on a Sunday or two ago, and I'm like, oh, they're showing a replay of the game. Like, no, this is game 5 or whatever at 11 in the morning Pacific. And I'm like, how are people going to consume this?
Mm-hmm. But I think it looks like Colorado's just, turning. I know they have weak goaltending, but like in spite of that, they're Colorado. They seem a little scary, but mind you, then they're matching up with a very good Dallas Stars team, a surprisingly good Dallas. But is Dallas surprising? They've like drafted incredibly well. They've in spite of Sagan and Ben, they're still good.
Dude, they're like it's crazy with them because they have Wyatt Johnston, who was playing in the NHL at 19 last year for Pete DeBoer, and Pete DeBoer hates young people. He absolutely despises them. And so here he is at 20, easily the best forward on that Stars roster. Not only that, so you have Logan Stankoven in there coming in and producing for them. Then they all like the Stars being like, you know what? We're gonna play 13 forwards, 5D. Why don't we just bring up like the best forward in the NHL in Maverick Bork? And they just bring him, just play 10 minutes. So, yeah, the Stars are a buzzsaw, and you're seeing the next generation of Dallas Stars right now in Stankoven, Bork, and Johnston. And then Heiskanen's going to be there, Ottinger's going to be there, and then Jamie Benn and Tyler Sagan are going to be sent off to an ice float. And
very expensive ice float.
Very expensive ice floats, but
package them for Mitch Marner.
Brad Tree Living's like, oh, that's pretty good.
Those guys have those names have cachet, baby. Arash,
the core 5.
The core 5. We can and we will.
It doesn't rhyme, but it works.
Yeah.
Arash, who are you taking in that series?
I'm taking Dallas in 7.
Oh.
Listen, the Colorado Avalanche are fantastic. I am not a fan of Alexander Georgiev. I know he had a nice little rebound time against Winnipeg, but he is he's an enigma goalie, and that's the worst kind of goalies, man. It's like the Brizgalov, the moons need to be specific, and his latte needs to be a specific way, and if it's not, the worlds are imploding. Jake Ottinger didn't have the greatest regular season, but again, he's made really timely saves. And I just think, you look at Colorado, and they made a really savvy trade for Casey Middlestad for Bowen Byram at around the deadline. That's great to shore up their 2C position. But at the same time, you look at Dallas, and man, they just have so much firepower. Not only firepower, but beyond the fact that Joe Pavelski isn't producing, like if they run into injuries, they got reinforcements. The reinforcements are right there. They have the cream of the crop of reinforcements. The only reinforcements they sadly do not have is on defense, where Niels Lundqvist is getting like 2 minutes a night.
Chris Tanev, do not get hurt. Do not look at anybody the wrong way.
Tanev is playing insane, by the way.
Yeah.
He's playing so well for the Stars.
Yeah, there was some stats that came out about how well he shut down Vegas's top 2 lines and basically played about 90 minutes in the series against them, which for one defenseman is pretty nuts. I really believe everything you're saying about the Dallas Stars, but in a bit of a Tampa Bay Lightning-like way, I don't bet against the Colorado Avalanche. And the fact that
have you ever learned, Ryan, not to bet against me? What are you doing, pal? Come on.
Yeah.
On the other side, are you just betting with me? Because I know how to make these picks.
Is it because you saw the piano in her living room and you said a person with a piano in their living room, they gotta be making money somehow? Don't
I always make the correct picks every year?
I mean, you are leading.
I was looking at Geeta's tally on the scoreboard, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do exactly what she does because what could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Truly, madly, deeply.
I'm gonna take Colorado though. You kind of mentioned a great point. Like if you're relying on Chris Tanev to stay healthy and to be an impact player as big as he was in Vegas against Colorado, that's a big task. But I'm gonna keep putting my money in Nate Dogg's basket. Let's go to the Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes. I've taken the New York Rangers in 6. They are 0-8 in the playoffs in Madison Square Garden, which 0-4, sorry, and they've been outscored 16-7 in those games. I don't really believe in the Carolina Hurricanes. Their appearances in the postseason always kind of wind up the same. They kind of forget how to score goals, and you probably can't do that against the New York Rangers. So I'm taking the Rangers in 6. Geeta, I have you down for the Hurricanes in 7, which is also what Arash has taken.
This was the series I struggled with. I had the universe didn't speak to me in any which way. I actually had to look. I actually had to do a little bit of homework, and the thing is, I know that the Rangers are the President's Trophy champions this year, but the Hurricane only finished 3 points behind them, and I feel like this isn't a terrible matchup.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They're two fantastic teams. In terms of the turnaround for the New York Rangers, again, Mika Zibanejad's taken a slight step back, but again, Chris Kreider had 39 goals, almost 40. Artemi Panarin decided that he's going to do the McDavid challenge where he's going to be like, people think I'm a playmaker, okay, and then he's scoring 90 goals a season. Igor Shesterkin, again, not a crazy regular season, but his kind of solidified a little bit. Adam Fox is back for them as well. In terms of the Carolina Hurricanes, that Gensel trade, man, I don't know if there is a more I can understand if you load up a line with McDavid and Draisaitl, but Gensel, Aho, Jarvis, Seth Jarvis also absolute killer, stone cold. And we saw them. So the game for game 1 went 4-3 for the Rangers.
They made it really tight because it was 3-1 after 20.
Yeah, so it was 4-3 final. I believe in the Carolina Hurricanes. I just feel like they have the experience.
I want to jump on something that Arash said because Reed actually may have led me astray in this series by telling me that Adam Fox is out injured, but he is not.
Oh no.
Oh,
can't wait for my blue shirts to. This feels like a really Americana Stanley Cup playoffs. The Canadian aspects. I feel like the Rangers are going to get some. I watched Saving Sakic last night, which was very pomp and circumstance about the Rangers. I just feel like that could happen again this year, and the NHL loves just going. What else needs to be said about the Rangers? Madison Square Garden. Who cares about the team? Madison Square Garden. Which is why I picked them. Finally, let's go to the last series here. Florida Panthers versus the Boston Bruins. Arash, I don't have your pick yet. Who are you taking?
Oh, I'm taking the Florida Panthers in 6. I understand the narrative that Boston's coming in and that what they want to do is avenge their choke job of last season. But I think the one thing we've seen is teams that come off very akin to how Toronto last year beat Tampa, where they come and they do the thing that they're trying to accomplish, which I think in their minds was not giving up 3-1 lead and having a really emotional series with the Maple Leafs. Man, Florida's just been sitting there. They've been in Cancun for like 2 weeks. Like they literally, like Alexander Barkov's been in a cryogenic chamber. Sergei Bobrovsky's, he went back to Russia for a little bit. He's, he's doing.
I got time to deal with the jet lag.
Tkachuk got engaged.
Did he really?
Got engaged.
Yeah.
Oh,
good for him.
Good for him, I guess.
I hope Brady mixes in a water. That'd be great. Yeah. So I just the Florida. Sorry to end up the Florida Panthers. Yeah, man. I just feel it's gonna be Florida, Carolina in the East final.
Yeah.
Edmonton and Dallas in the West, and then.
It's just overtime after overtime.
Oh my!
The cup's going to the East.
Florida loves long overtimes too. It all fits into their makeup. Geeta, you and I both picked the Panthers in 5. Do we just respectively not have that much hope for the the Toronto Maple Leaf killing Boston Bruins?
That's right. We recorded this before Game 7. I don't know if Boston is actually that good this year.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't think the Leafs were the measuring stick for that. I don't think the team is that good, and I think Florida is just that good. And like Arash said, they've been sitting around. It's hard to say, right? Like, because this is the time where you need to heal versus like just losing momentum. I don't know if they actually their first round series was so short. Did they even have time to build momentum?
Yeah, that's. The game was so short that I don't think anyone built speed through the neutral zone. They're just like, it's over. It's done.
It's done. Was it even televised? Yeah, maybe. Geeta, as we'll wrap up with you very shortly here. I feel like you have the biggest interest in all things Maple Leafs on this podcast, so I would just like to get a comment or two from you about their latest showing. And what would you expect going into the off season for them?
I think I've become a Leafs fan. As I was sitting there on Saturday night, and the overtime goal is scored, I felt nothing. Nothing
really?
At all. Just like, oh, okay. And then you just no tears, no emotion, no nothing. It's like, okay.
Same time next year? Okay.
It's too bad because Willie Nylander had a really great 3 or 4 or 5 games, however many games he played, but nobody else really showed up. And you're like, yeah, I didn't expect you to.
Yeah.
I don't know who year after year thinks you're going to show up. It's the same iteration. It's like, what did it say? Like you keep doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different result? No,
no, that's not going to happen.
Not going to happen, pal.
Geeta, we'll leave it there. I think I'm so glad that you're back and you're over the jet lag, just like all of the Florida Panthers and all their vacationing that they've been doing. And we'll talk to you next week or on one of the post game shows. But have a great week. Ed Arashi.
Hi. What's up, baby boy?
Let's take a break.
No, I don't want to take a break. What? I like being in a relationship with you. I don't want to be in a break.
We'll take a break. We'll run some plugs and we'll come back with America's favorite segment. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the podcast this far. It's time for our favorite segment of the week, plugs. That's where I tell you all the things, the great things that you can do to help support our show. If you want to support the show monetarily, pledge a couple of bucks, heading over to patreon.com/pucksonnet. Starting with $5 American a month, you get charged about $7.50 Canadian. That gives you immediate access to all our bonus content, access to the Pucks on Net Discord, and if you're going to want to play Pucks on Net Fantasy Hockey that Arash won last year, or this past year, that's how you can do it. Patreon.com/pucksonnet, pledging $5 American. And if you want to support the show a bit more, you can also pledge $15 a month. And after 3 months, you will get an exclusive Pucks on Net piece of merchandise, beer pints, tote bags, camper mugs, coffee mugs, that kind of stuff. $15 a month for 3 months. And you can do the same for $25 if you want to get the Pucks on Net shirt. You up your monthly donation to $25 a month, and after 3 months, we'll send you that shirt. So these are all great ways you can help support the show. We are really doubling down on our coverage for the for the playoffs, for the postseason. So it does cost more. This coverage does cost more. So more download or more hosting fees. Our StreamYard software. We want to give you the best possible product as fast as humanly possible, and it's not breaking the bank, but it's eating up our Patreon money quite quickly. So if you want to help support this show and you're enjoying all the content we're putting out this off season, this postseason, patreon.com/pucksonnet. Go plug it in. Go look around. It's free to look, and every dollar that you pledge to this show gets donated right back into this podcast. If you want to buy a T-shirt, we still have all sizes available except mediums. $35 Canadian is what they cost. If you live locally in Metro Vancouver, I will do free local pickup or delivery. Drop it off in your hands. This is a locally produced garment designed by a local artist who we trust and respect, and same with the company that made these shirts. So we're very stoked on them. Very good quality tees. This is not your online, dial a T-shirt. This is something that we've crafted to make us look as good as possible, and we're very proud of it. If you don't live in Metro Vancouver and you want one, $15 Canadian will get that shipped anywhere from sea to sea, ocean to ocean to ocean, coast to coast to coast. If you live in the United States, it's $17 Canadian to ship, and if you live anywhere in the world, it's $22 Canadian to ship. Trust me when I say this, that you're getting a bargain on these shipping prices. And now if you're saying, Ryan, what can I do to help support this show without opening up my wallet? And very valid request. If you're watching this on YouTube, smash the damn follow button, hit subscribe, hit the bell, interact with our content here. It's a great way to do it. You can do the same on our Instagram account at PucksOnNet, our TikTok account at PucksOnNet, and just help grow the social footprint of this podcast and grow the overall footprint of this podcast. Tell a friend. Reach out and say, hey, this was a good episode. This is a good hockey podcast. I've gotten into it because of the post-game shows. I'm listening this week, and it's cool. That helps immensely. We'd also tell you to rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That helps us defeat the awful algorithm. We've been begging you for 10 years to do that, and there's a reason why. It's because it works. So tell a friend. Rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts. And share the podcast in your Instagram stories if you listen on Spotify. Well, those are all the things that you can do to help this show. I think it's time to get back into the podcast. Sauce it or toss it, Arash. How are you feeling? Are you ready for it?
Yes. I am prepared emotionally. Give me the sauce, Ryan.
Sauce it or toss it, Arash.
Oh, God.
Brendan Shanahan.
Okay, so this is the thing. So the Shanna plan. They're all getting fired on Friday. They're all
Everybody?
getting fired on. Dude, Sheldon's gone. I'm sure Brendan Shanahan's gonna step down. Brad Treliving's like, I guess what? I'm signing Zadorov. I don't even care if I get penalized. I don't care if I get fined. Whatever. Here's the thing. Toronto Maple Leafs fans, they've already had 2 straight days of mourning their loss and everything. For all intents and purposes, Mitch has to be gone. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Well,
and
hang
this
on.
isn't even. Yeah.
Stick with me here. Let's stick to Shanahan. You're saucing or tossing him?
I'm tossing it. Of course not. Who's saying this plan has worked? You have.
He's a handsome guy. I trust handsome people.
You really? I guess I got on the show somehow.
Sauce or toss it, Arash. Sheldon Keefe.
Okay. All right. Well, Ryan, Sheldon, He's going to be in the league really soon, probably coaching the New Jersey Devils. They're just going to switch teams. Yeah, I mean, listen, like, I don't want to bury any more Maple Leafs fans, and they're probably already burying themselves, but a lot of changes are coming in Toronto, so bye, Sheldon.
Another toss. Toss it, Arash. Mitch Marner.
Oh, my God, Ryan. Ryan, how did you not know that I wasn't going to tie in all three of the sauces in my first answer? Listen, Mitch Marner is going to put up 100 points playing for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's going to do great. He has a no movement clause, but again, like, I'm sure he's over it too. He's like, you know what? This dream sucks, and I don't really care about having Ron McLean talk to me about how he knows Leonard Cohen like every day. I really don't want to talk about this anymore, and I'd rather just go play hockey. And this is just what happens, Ryan, when we're in a league now where you give young people the bag before they've actually earned the bag. And this is what happens. Now you have an $11 million guy who puts up points, and unfortunately, probably in another mix where it's very Kessel-esque, where if you probably ask him not to be the guy, he's gonna be like the guy on like a second line in Columbus, Minnesota, wherever Anaheim, Anaheim.
That's better than Columbus, because we saw
Anaheim might be kind of cute, but I don't know if Pat Verbeek's going to give anything more than like a fourth.
I don't need this pansy on my squad.
Oh no, he puts up assists, but does he hit? does he hit the boards, Ryan? That's what I really want to know.
Do I have number 4? Oh, there it is. Didn't upload. Wait 2 seconds. Does he hit the board? Says Pat Verbeek.
Sausage boards on the floor is Paul Career.
Sauce it or toss it, Arash. The Vegas Golden Knights going out in round 1.
Aww.
Oh, Thomas Hurdle. It didn't work.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Hurdle didn't work out for you guys this time.
Noah Hannafin didn't work.
Noah Hannafin didn't work. Sauce it, and that now they have to make their cap work. And I think they'll be fine because I think Alec Martinez is expiring. Mantha's expiring. I don't think there's too much of a big upgrade in Noah Hannafin's cap. And then Hurdle's gonna be like, they'll be okay and whatever. But again, like you've tried to you've like in terms of youth in that lineup, you really don't. Like there's Shea Theodore's not getting younger, Petrangelo not getting younger. Yeah, you went and got Noah Hannafin at age 27, 20, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's fine, but you went and got Thomas Hurdle, who's in like the middle part of his career on a really long-term contract, right? Like, what are you gonna go do? Like, go get Logan Couture now? Like, you're just gonna really load up the guys?
Think of the players that they have to get rid of now to accommodate that Hurdle contract, and there's going to be 2 key players that are going to be moved out of that, top 6, top 9, and they're going to have to. I mean, they're going to have to bring somebody up. They don't have a Stankoven or a Wyatt Johnson because they've shipped everything they've ever drafted or potentially drafted out of town.
Cody Glass, what is it? Eric Brandstrom, like. Brendan Brisson is like their only like real actual pick that's actually on their roster. And Pat Brisson's been trying to trade for his son forever and been like, listen, I'll give you some deals I'll move John Tavares out if you bring Brendan to Toronto. Let me tell
you. Sauce it or toss it, Arash. Casey DeSmith starting another game with a healthy Seeloffs on the roster.
Yeah,
so there's a caveat.
Anything can happen, Ryan. Like they're gonna go, and if Artie lets in 7 goals, like, you're gonna go back to Casey. You can't. This isn't a. I don't think Archer Shilos has hit a situation yet in this city where, like, he's Cam Ward. I don't think that, just specifically because Casey didn't play too bad, and he got a win or two, he got 1 win against the Predators. But again, like Casey's also had a win against the Edmonton Oilers this year. So really, we'll see. I'm really curious to see how game 1 goes. Yeah. I'm really curious to see how game 1 goes. There's going to be a feeling out process because I want to see this new and improved Edmonton Oilers team. And again, it's going to be really tough with McDavid and Draisaitl, especially when they're rested. But
They aren't your Oilers of 45 minutes ago, baby.
Yeah, well, the Canucks have... How many days have the Canucks been off for now?
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So 4 days off, I think is...
4 days. So travel back from Nashville. Probably some
I hope they
optional
partied
skates.
in Nashville on Friday night.
No, they didn't. They absolutely did not. No way.
One thing I'm noticing about this team is they are photographed out in the wild, either through confusing means during training camp or during pleasant, like, yeah, we'll take a photo with you means.
Yeah, because they're going to get a poke bowl with the boys. Yeah, they're just getting a poke bowl with the boys. That's fine. They're allowed to go out, but I'm like, you're not seeing them at the Canby or anything or Tootsie's or whatever.
They should
like,
be.
They know
you can see them in like I've seen photographs of it might have been Nashville or like around town, but like they're out having a beer or two, and it's neat to see that camaraderie kind of return to that team.
It's cute, but I'm also like, go sleep. Please go get rest.
Hey, whatever, loser.
Wow. Okay.
Sauce it or toss it,
I'm changing my thing to Edmonton to 3 because Ryan's just fucking with the juju. Why are you screwing with the juju, Ryan? Don't screw with the juju. You have to. The more you lean in to the fact that our franchise sucks, like it's a superpower. It's great because it nullifies everything until you win and you're like, oh, that was not expected. That's fucking great. Do I believe in this team? Hell yeah, I do. Do I believe in how far they can go? For sure. But at the same time, man, 192 points one guy has. I don't know.
Sauce it or toss it, Arash. The Edmonton Oilers need to beat the Canucks.
What can you clarify this? They need to?
Like this Oilers team, based on all the moves they've done, where they're at in the contracts for McDavid and Draisaitl, where they're at in, with the Maple Leafs in the first round, it's the Edmonton Oilers in the second round. This team needs to beat the Canucks.
Well, I'll sauce it because they do, but not because they need to beat the Canucks, because the Canucks are the problem. I'll say that they need to win because they need to get into a conference final. The last conference final they went to was against Anaheim, and Kessler's foot in the thing, Talbot, whatever. These contracts are coming up, and that's the one thing I'm holding over Edmonton Oilers fans' heads, is that there is a ticking clock on this window you have. And when this ticking clock goes boom, Evan Bouchard is going to go from a 70-point guy to a 50. He's going to do he's going to do an Erik Karlsson. He's going to be like, wait, you mean when I passed it to when I passed it to Ryan Strome, who we reacquired from the Anaheim Ducks, he didn't go end-to-end and score, and I didn't get a secondary assist on that. I feel that was weird. What if we signed Sam Gagner again? Will that help? I just feel like there's a ticking clock on this thing, and once like Connor McDavid is presented with the ability of saying, hey, guess what? The cap has went up like 3 times already. Cap has went up. You are a free agent in the prime of your career. You can literally pick any of the 32 NHL teams that you want. You can pluck yourself. Utah, but like imagine it. Be like, you can literally go pluck yourself and be on the Carolina Hurricanes right now. You can pluck yourself and be on the Vancouver Canucks right now. I'm just saying, just as a meme, he's going to look at the Edmonton roster and be like, oh yeah, Ken Holland told me he's going to trade for Andreas Athanasiou again. Oh yeah, great. Wade Brookbank, they're coming in. Wade Brookbank's coming in as the PB coach. Whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, there's a track record and a history and a pattern with this Oilers team, which I too would sauce, that the Oilers need to get to the conference final and do something different this year.
Yes, sir.
Finally, sauce it or toss it, Arash, buying out your favorite player, Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Well,
they
Rob
came
Blake,
out and said that he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it. He's a coward. You got to. how do you not? Because for people who don't know, I think it's before June 22nd, and it's his birthday because he's 26, I think.
Yeah.
Going into 27. His buyout actually only hits for 1/3 of the penalty and not 2/3 as your normal buyout. So, I feel like they do not have the listen. He would be paid to like 2034. Ryan,
It's like a baseball buyout.
Ryan, tell me about 2034. Have you thought about the year 2034 yet?
I think about it all the time. Here I am, and that's only the scary thing is that's 10 years from now. But on the 2034 season of Pucks on Net, we finally invest in the hologram technology. And so like we'll have a phone and then it will pop out of your phone and like we're dancing in front of you talking about Tig or Taj Aginla winning the Conn Smythe Trophy.
Oh, he's going to be great for the Calgary Flames. Though, Craig Conroy. I mean, I know we're talking about PLD, and yes, Sauce, you should buy him out. But Craig Conroy is going to be, we followed our list. We just followed our list, and he was there. It had nothing to do with his dad. I don't even, you know what? I'll be honest with you. When I played with Jerome, didn't like him too much.
He didn't call me up and threaten me. He didn't.
He just like the Godfather, he insisted upon himself. He took forever getting in. One of my favorite Family Guy jokes. I'm a Simpsons guy, but that's one. There's two Family Guy jokes that get me. It's the Godfather, and then the guy ordering a salad from the pizza place. Just one of the most accurate representations of life.
I'd like to see what a muffin looks like from a pizza place too.
Oh God.
So we made our picks for the second round. Maple Leafs, they lose in 7 on Saturday night. Sheldon and Keefe with one hell of a soundbite. When teams play the Leafs, they set up the game for the Leafs to beat themselves. And I think everybody collectively was thinking, well, that's something you say when you're heading out of town.
That is like literally like that's what you say during an exit interview when you want to tell your employer to go fuck themselves. Like that is literally like you showing up to the exit. Like what it's literally Office Space when he shows up and he's like cracking a beer during the exit interview. Be like, how many every time I make, how many bosses I have every time I make a mistake on a TPS report?
I have 7 bosses.
7? You have 7 bosses? 7?
The Leafs are going to hold their end of season availability for players and head coach. They held it today. You kind of learned about Austin Matthews. He didn't really specify what he was going through, but it's safe to say that Nylander and Matthews gave a bit of clarity and a bit of context into what they were going through. By all accounts, Mitch Marner has said nothing, and he is part of the leadership group there with an A on his sweater. But that's a conversation for another day when he plays for Columbus or Anaheim. But management won't speak until Thursday. So we're recording on Monday night. That leaves a solid 48 hours for a coach to get fired, maybe a president to get fired by ownership. Like a lot can happen here. I don't necessarily think Brad Treliving will get fired, but he's going to be on his own island. Like he already was on his own island because he replaced the handpicked Dubas, and now everybody else around him is going to be fired, and they're going to replace them with who they want. And then it's like, well, we think we like you, but we're not too sure.
Yeah, so I don't think Brad's not going to get moved. I just think they just need to have if this is going to be a tectonic shift, right? Like they've already committed to Willie Nylander, Austin Matthews, John Tavares has 1 year left, and Marner has 1 year left after this as well before
the JT Miller situation.
But like, listen, that's 2 play. Like even if I'm sure if they retain something on John Tavares, like they can ship him. Everyone needs a center. Everyone needs like a 2C guy that can show up or whatever. In terms of Mitch Marner, like if you just look at, that's with retention on Tavares a little bit. you're looking at like $15-16 million, whatever, how much he's retaining on the guy, $17 million in cap space. And I really don't doubt that if they went and they took that money and found little more adjustable pieces, like as much as I really thought that the Maple Leafs defense core actually played really well in Game 7, when you're giving Simone Benoit 20 minutes a night, Ilya Lyubushkin's playing as much as he is, and then at the end of every series, it's, why didn't Morgan Riley do more? It's like, well, Morgan Riley's like trying his goddamn best, all right?
He's doing enough.
He's doing it up. He's just like, he is what he is. I mean, he's not Quinn Hughes. He's not Cale Makar. He's not the Heiskin, and he's not like one of these premier young guys. I'd say like, he's in the Josh Morrissey-esque tier of guys who are really good, but probably not going to be on the cover of any of your video games anymore, right? So I think with them, like, shoring up the defense core, like going in, Max Domi's probably going to come back, get a little bit of a raise, a little bit of a bump, a little bit of raise there. Don't know if Bertuzzi's going to come back. We'll see.
He had an abysmal start to this season. Abysmal 2/3 of the season.
He did, but then he picked it up. But then again, I think the two players that really showed, like, I mean, Austin. Listen, Austin plays a premium position. He's a centerman. He scores 70 goals. Like, you can't. Like, I know you'll want like more of a hustle thing, but he also played at 25%. And he got the primary assist on the Nylander goal in Game 7, so that's not the problem. Willie Stiles comes in. He's coming in with migraines or whatever. He's ripping it up. And he shows that he's that guy. Mitch threw his gloves on the bench and had a little bit of a pissy fit. And, John Tavares comes out and gives you the most lukewarm, he's bringing out his jam. He's being like, you guys remember this photo? I like the photo too.
I like playing here. I just need everyone to know that.
Hey, Ryan. Guess what?
What?
You'll never guess what my uncle's name is. Not in a million years. Guess. You'll never get it.
John Tavares.
Fuck.
I'm also excited to see what they would do. Like, they're probably gonna have to bring some money in, but if they could have some cap space to, sprinkle in role players and contributors and defense and goaltending. Like, it's been the same story since they signed Tavares, is who will play goal. We'll find somebody. And how concussed is Matt Murray? Slightly? Okay, let's bring him in. Like, they just been so ramshackle. So to see them have some money to invest in something, I'm very curious to see what it will look like.
Yeah, I'm just the problem with them is, like, Kyle Dubas tried to money puck stuff, and like sometimes it worked, and he went and tried to get college guys and whatever. And so it'll be interesting if they go back to that situation. Now, Brad Treliving, listen, like, I'm not going to be surprised if he goes and he throws like a shit ton of money towards Nikita Zadorov and guys he really loved in Calgary, and he's trying to bring the band back together, and calls up Nazem and was like, hey, you want to come back, buddy? You want to make the dream a reality, Nazem?
Oh man, that's too real.
Yeah, it's too real. And so, and if the NHL has taught us anything, Ryan, it's that, like, literally, they'll just play the hits, man. Like, everyone has their bag of little tricks, and they'll keep going to the bag of tricks, and they'll get their little Rolodexes out and be like, who did I know from junior? That's good.
Who's a Sioux Greyhound?
Who's a Sioux Greyhound?
That's happening in Pittsburgh.
Hey, Dad, which Boston pizza am I allowed to eat at again? I don't know. Did you see that photo of that Penticton Boston pizza? That's that.
I don't know what the uproar is about. Like, you don't have to sit in Penticton's close enough to Alberta that there's a part of, like, if you're around Cranbrook and stuff, like, you're in mountain time, but you also are more Albertan than you are BC. So I think that's just
really
dumb.
You think that?
Yeah, I do.
I feel like if you're there, man, like, you're within the boundaries of the province, and that's your lines. That's where it's. I don't buy into this, like, oh, if you're in Cranbrook, you can waffle. No,
but for all we know that BP in Penticton is just a haven for Oilers fans, and like, it's their Black Frog, and like, I would overcook their goddamn cactus cuts every time.
I'd make it the worst Boston pizza in all of British Columbia, and I'd be like, here you go. You better enjoy it because it's going to be gone in 1 to 2 years. No Doug Wait here to save you now, pal. Curtis Joseph, no. Grant Fuhr, no. You know how long you had to wait for McDavid after Gretzky? Think about how long you're gonna have to wait now. Yeah, if you can tell, I'm really salty. It's not like
you're insanely salty. You're living in the replies like a motherfucker.
No, I'm not. I literally haven't encountered. Stop. I'm giving you content. No, it's I haven't actually even like antagonized any Oilers fans. It's just I'm just watching and I'm like, I don't know what Ryan, maybe having experience in Calgary and Alberta, like I don't know what, maybe I don't know if it's like the people from Alberta look at BC and they think that everyone in BC is like super rich and we're wearing Lululemon and all this stuff, and they don't think we're salt of the earth people, and they think like whatever as we wear Lululemon. Anyway, I just don't get it. So like every time, and I don't want to make it too political and everything, but it just feels like I'm like walking down the street and I feel like someone from Alberta would flip me off. I'm just like, what do you like?
Alberta they have a roughneck. It's just like a roughneck blue collar approach to life, even if you are a white collar individual. Very crass, and they are team. The Calgary Flames have one cup, and the Oilers have their heyday, and that province has their heyday. So it's like they just have a chip on their shoulder, regardless of how dusty that chip is. And I saw it was at our delightful favorite bar. It's okay. The owner is a Flames fan, and he brought up the very astute observation that Calgary Flames fans just believe. And I think the same applies to Oilers fans. Like, if you ask them, hey, could the Flames or the Oilers win the Cup this year? Like 9 out of 10 people are like, hell yeah, they could. They got a great team. You ask 9 out of 10 Canuck fans, and like, no, well, no. Like there's a blind pride for their team and an unwavering support, and which you see from Canuck fans in the playoffs. But that just ties into the lifestyle here. Like, we are a flaky West Coast group. The biggest competition for watching Canucks playoff games is going outside and doing something. And
we're not even allowed to watch Canucks games outside because it might destroy our city. Sim, we have a history.
So
Can I hop in for 1 second? And I don't know if any like Oilers fans are like listening or whatever. I'm gonna beg you, just from like the bottom of my heart, and as someone who knows how much we suck, like, please find something else other than riot jokes. Like,
but they're so
I'll
good.
I'll give you content. I'll give you like, hey, guess what? We can't even afford to live here. We can't afford bread. Isn't that crazy? We might all be malnourished and dead by Game 5 if we don't figure out how we can open the bakeries in the city not to sell $90 loaves of sourdough. Like, I'm begging you, like, give me anything other than getting, all the power of all the greatest chirpers in Edmonton together. And you're huddling in, and the beakers and the science lab is going, and you have your supercomputers in your minds, and they're going, and you've connected all your Ford 150s that you bought with your parents' mortgages, and you connected them all together, and you're revving them up, and all the power, and all the glory, and all the everything. Oh my God, it's so much better. And then you come up with a riot joke. That's all that comes from it. No,
you want to know
not.
why? Because it gets you.
Boring. No, it doesn't. Dude, we're gonna burn down the city. Sure, we'll burn down the city. Yeah, what's the?
It's great. It's so funny because, like I just said, this is a flaky. We don't really care too much until we have to care, and it's not that we don't like the team, but we just it's our region's kind of lackadaisical approach. And so then when the Canucks lose, and whether they're fans, bandwagon, passionate people, or just professional anarchists, like they like to say, then they riot and go, well, this isn't representative of us, which is true, but it still happens all the time. So it's like a double whammy of just like a gut punch because it keeps happening. It doesn't represent us, but like it's not like Montreal where it's celebrated. Like it's not passionate fan base.
Yeah, so like I understand that, but like I think, as a person who understands bullying really well and understanding that I'm an Iranian kid that grew up in like a white neighborhood, and like I know how to chirp my way through things strictly because there's chirping, and then like you really want to get to the heart and soul of it. Like it's very much Drake versus Kendrick, where Drake is doing the Alberta thing where he's like, "Ha, you rioted, huh?" And Kendrick is literally looking into Drake's eyes being like, "I know your soul and I know the things that you cry about at night." And that's what wins. And it's like if you really like want to go down this road, because like Edmonton Oilers fans, you're living in the legacy of your mom and your dad at a time when the internet didn't exist, right? And like there's two retorts. It's riot jokes and then, "Oh, we have more cups than you." That's it.
Yeah, sports fans are idiots. Why are we trying to give them intelligence? Why are we trying to rationalize these morons?
Because I expect more from my opponents on a jousting stage when everyone is being like, Canucks Twitter and Edmonton Oilers Twitter, it's going to be a battle. I'm like, really?
They're both awful.
Oh, I don't know. I think I've been pretty cordial. I think I've been nice. Look at my things. What have I said? I said
they're both
really
cesspools. There are 200 people that don't represent a larger audience of fans.
What a time to be alive, Ryan. Anyway, I just if that's all my opponent had. You know what it's like? It's like did you ever watch that movie Gangs of New York?
Not in a long time.
Okay. So there's this great scene. It's about 2/3 into the movie where Bill the Butcher comes and he like comes to fight Leonardo DiCaprio and his people. And he comes in and he sees Leonardo DiCaprio like in front of the church, and there's like kids holding weapons and all this stuff. And Bill the Butcher, Dan Day-Lewis, like looks at him and he's like, "We'll come back at another time." Being like, it's like I'm looking for a fight. You're not like this isn't really that great. Okay, we'll come back at another time. But I think at the end of it, yeah, it's like I think this is the sauce. Either team that wins is gonna get fucking shit kicked in the West Final. we need to, maybe BP was right. Maybe we need to bind together and support each other through the fact that we're both going to get swept in the West Final.
Even their response was fine. We're just cheering for the best Canadian option to win a cup. Like, well, yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, maybe. But then you named Boston Pizza.
Two things to touch. You can blame the Triv Living family for that. Two things to touch on. Rick Bowness, he announces retirement after 40 years in the NHL. He started as a interim head coach with the original Jets in 88-89. He was the head coach of the Bruins, the Senators, the Islanders, the Coyotes, and Dallas Stars. Plus, he coached with the Jets, the Islanders, the Coyotes. I say assistant or associate with the Coyotes, the Canucks, the Lightning, and the Stars. He had a tough year. He took a leave of absence and was away for 11 games in October when his wife had a seizure. And he's getting up there in age. I think he's 69. Nice. Oof. He missed 4 games in March after undergoing a minor medical procedure. And the news that came out today is that Travis Arash's boy, Travis Green, is now the head coach of his other boy, Claude Giroux. And
110-point season incoming, we know. Green's going to come in and be like, "Yeah, man, just play."
I don't think this is a good fit for Travis Green personally.
Why? Well, tell me.
He's coming into, this is a spot that like Craig Berube should have come in. Travis Green's NHL head coaching experience was, he's experienced in the environment, chaos, instability, questionable players not playing to their potential and potentially wanting out. Like there is a lot, like he has to get a lot out of these players, and he has a lot of work ahead of him to kind of get them on the same page and playing as one cohesive unit. I'm very curious to see what he does with some of these guys. And, you've joked about Brady Tkachuk's kind of leadership style in the past of I'll just show I'm a leader by fighting everybody. Like,
what if I just punch everyone, then I will establish dominance and they will award me the Stanley Cup.
So I don't know if that is a spot for Travis Green. I could have seen him kind of going to a place like Seattle, where they kicked Hackstall out for whatever reasons, but there isn't this Hackstall. Like Dave Hackstall. No reason
Dave Hackstall is just Dave Hackstall.
But there's no underswell of just this has to work because I don't know if Travis Green is the head coach to take a team like that to the next level. So his head coach experience with pros in the NHL is limited. I'm very curious to see what the Senators look like next year from a play standpoint and just from a roster makeup.
Yeah, they need to get goaltending and they need to figure out playing three guys on the left side. Your three best defensemen playing on the left side isn't a recipe to go. I think Jacob Chychrun is not going to be in Ottawa Center for very long. I don't think he naturally fits there. I think it's Chabot and Sanderson. Sanderson's on a long-term thing. Yeah. Like, no, I don't think that would work, but like, stay with me for a second, but like, Hronek. No, that wouldn't really work because then you still need a guy on the right side. That would be a really good swap because they're very similar in age and play styles, but Hronek would have more value than Jake.
Yeah.
So I'm like thinking like if it's Chychrun and like a pick or a prospect or whatever, and then they can sign Hronek to that long-term thing. That'd be a fun little dipsy doodle thing. But anyway, this is me at the end of the show getting really I'm waxing poetic, Ryan. I'm waxing poetic. I'm thinking I'm cooking up stuff in this little baby brain of mine.
Let's go to the Pucks on Net Sauce Line, and then we'll close out the show this week with two post-game shows coming up this week. Let's go to the Sauce Line.
Hey, this is Jonah calling from Seattle with a question of pressing importance, and I want to know, does anyone know if the Canucks ever used She Sells Sanctuary by The Cult as their skate on song, introduction song? Because whenever I hear that song, I get serious nostalgia, and I can't tell if it's Canucks related or something else. So I've tried Googling, and I've tried asking Yuriki, but he didn't know, surprisingly. So anybody else out there has an idea can help me out and help me scratch this itch. Thanks. Love the show. Take care.
Finally, a question right up old Ryan's alley.
Take it away, buddy.
No, nobody I talked to that's in the Gen X or older age bracket could recall that. That's just the most like identifiable 80s nostalgia song ever. I too feel a wave of nostalgia.
Is it? Really?
Oh, hell yeah.
80s?
Huh?
Like an 80s nostalgia song?
Sanctuary by The Cult?
Well, I mean, yeah, like listen, I love that song and I listen to that song all the time thinking
in Vice City.
Getting out to it. Yeah, but I'm like, when you're talking about 80s nostalgia songs, it's like I Ran by Flock of Seagulls now. Like
also in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, well, okay, Ryan, stop. Vice City literally had 7 albums in 19 different radio stations. Every song in the 80s. I don't know how Rockstar got away with actually packing that much that many songs in the actual game. But wait. I think even Don't You Forget About Me is actually would probably be the biggest 80s nostalgia song now from Breakfast Club. I think everyone knows that song.
I mean, it'd probably be like Thriller. Like the biggest memorable song from the 80s.
I think Thriller was bigger than just the era of the 80s. That's the problem, right? Oh, Come On Eileen? I'm looking down the list. Wait, okay, I'm looking at this. Okay, Summer of 69. Oh. No. Come On Eileen. Every Breath You Take. No, it's big. Every Breath You Take is bigger than the 80s.
Yeah.
Ooh, Call Me by Blondie. No.
That's a 7. No, that's 81.
Yeah. Sweet Home Alabama. No, it's bigger than Sweet Home Alabama is bigger than just the 80s, the era. Ooh.
But as you look that up, to answer the listener, to answer Jonah's question from Seattle, who we've never heard from, so really appreciate you calling the Sauce Line at 604-283-94.
Sweet Child of Mine, Ryan. Sweet Child of Mine.
That album didn't get big until '89, and it's too big for the region, or too big for the decade. I think you were right with Iran, or it's something out of Vice City. But I will say that
it's something out of Vice City. I mean, let's see. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
But back to the question at hand. It was the Cult and Seattle. Famously, they're tied together. Metallica filmed their '89 live and Justice for All tour in Seattle at the Seattle Coliseum. Cult opened up for that show, and or for that tour. So that's where I will pinpoint it. But to answer the question, no, the Canucks have never used that song to skate out to. And I have a weird lizard brain encyclopedia of songs the Canucks have played at games for some godforsaken reason.
I will give you a little list of the Billboard #1 songs and how long. So like the top songs that spent the most time at #1 in the 80s. Okay. Physical by Olivia Newton-John. Betty Davis Eyes by Kim Cairns. Then there's Endless Love by Diana Ross and Lionel Richie. Every Breath You Take by The Police. This one might actually be really. I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Which
no chance.
Oh, what?
You're overthinking it. You had it with
no. Eye of the Tiger.
No, it's Flock of Seagulls. I'll give it to you. You had it off, and then you started big braining it.
That's bullshit.
Let's wrap up the podcast there. I don't know how much voice. I don't have much of a voice left.
Ryan, you want to listen to 5 minutes of paying? Literally going to give you a post game show. Just you'll be fine.
We're gonna do both. Wrap up the show there. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for calling the Sauce Line. Thanks for listening. Support the show on Patreon, all that jazz. Canucks open up the series on Wednesday. Irrational I will be immediately recording the post game show right after the final buzzer. Same for Friday, and then Saturday I go to AEW Collision. So I'll wrap it up.
What's the card?
Bunch of indie darlings doing flips.
Nice.
Good night, everybody.